Assalamualaikum and good day, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to thank the organizer and sponsors for providing me with opportunity to present my paper in this conference. I am TASNEEM, currently pursuing my master's study at USIM, and my research paper is entitled Marriage and Divorce Among Muslim Refugees Under Shariah Law in Malaysia and Other Muslim Refugee Host Countries. I made a scoping review focusing on evidentiary law and procedures. I would like to explain that the current Palestinian issue really inspired me and triggered me to do this research and to be a force in providing help for them in a more effective way. I hope you can benefit from my research. Thank you. My research will be guided by a main research question, which is how does procedural gaps in Muslim refugee marriage and divorce regulation impact them, particularly from the aspect of refugee legal identity and Sharia ahkam. So this main research question will be guided or thematically analyzed through three themes. The first theme covers legal status of refugees. Second theme will explore on the substantive and procedural issues, including the evidentiary issues involving refugees' marriage and divorce under Sharia law. The third theme identifies the impacts of such gap on refugees. Into the legal status of refugees in Malaysia. Malaysia has not ratified the 1951 Refugee Convention or the 1967 Protocol. Malaysia not only has not ratified the Refugee Convention internationally, but has discriminatory domestic law that runs counter to the International Refugee Convention. This is acknowledged by categorization of refugee as illegal immigrant in the Article 6 of Immigration Act in Malaysia. In 2016, UNHCR started to officially grant each refugee UNHCR ID card through the SRD process. So this is the only identity card that refugees have as legal identity in Malaysia as a host country. Since my research is about marriage and divorce regulations of refugees, we will look into the laws on refugees' rights to family formation, including rights to marriage and divorce registration in three levels. In international level, Article 16.1, Article 23.1 of ICCPR, Article 1.1 of the Convention on Consent to Marriage, minimum age for marriage and registration of marriages, together with Article 5 of the 1990 Cairo Declaration, provides the rights to refugees for family formation and to have adequate documentation. In federal law, Article 3 and Article 121(1)(a), which provides the state list, delegate power to state to enact law regarding marriages of Muslim in Malaysia. So in state level, Section 4 of IFLA and Section 4 of the Islamic Family Law State of Selangor Enactment 2003 provides that all Muslim can be heard under the law. Section 5 provides the criteria to determine a person's Muslim status is through the general reputation. So this is the law that provides rights of refugee to form family in their host country and to have proper and adequate documentation. I will provide a brief overview on the refugees' marriage in Malaysia, particularly the Rohingya refugees. I chose Rohingya because they constitute the highest number of refugees in Malaysia and they have been residing in Malaysia for more than 4 generations. Refugee marriage usually take place without the involvement of government institutions such as JAKIM or JAIN. However, in 2015, JAKIM has given consent to JAIN to regulate refugees' marriage in its 32nd General Meeting of the KPNCR. Based on my review, marriage regulation differs in each state due to security concern and state autonomy. These serve as procedural issues. Usually, marriage certificates are issued by community-based organization that governs Rohingya, such as Crypto and MUR in Johor and Peninsula, respectively. So, although they issue marriage certificate, but the marriage certificate is not legally authorized by the authorities in Malaysia, this serves as evidentiary issue in which if there is marital dispute between marriage parties, refugees cannot claim their rights in the Shariah court because they don't have a marriage certificate that is legally authorized. Impacts on refugees due to evidentiary issue and procedural issue is the legal and Shariah impact. We can see in Target 16.9 of the 2030 SDG Objective 4 of GCM and the GCR final draft express that refugees being issued proper documentation such as birth, marriage and death certificate. The absence of authorized marriage certificate between refugees married couple causes intergenerational statelessness. Until today, many states do not even have alternative to provide birth certificate for child born to refugee married couple in Malaysia. In Shariah perspective, the violation of Shariah Ahkam, violation of women's rights and violation of child rights, all of this affects the maqasid al-Shariah or the objective of Shariah, including Hifzuddin, Hifzul Nafs, Hifzul Nasl and Hifzul Mal. Best practices from 3 OIC countries, since Malaysia is a member state of OIC. First, in Jordan, refugees are required to have MOI card, the approval from the Ministry of Interior, before they can register their marriage in the Shariah court. Jordan Shariah court offers serious affordable family documentation and conflict resolutions. Legally qualified professional provide services for half the cost of Al-Qada al-Nizami. All Muslims have access to free services. Shariah court has also built branches in the Zaatari and Azraq camps, the first of such facilities in refugee camps in Jordan. In Turkey, however, Turkey have ratified the International Refugee Convention, so refugees are governed by the Turkish Civil Code 2003 and applicable law. To divorce, refugees in Turkey must file a divorce petition with the appropriate family court, and refugees may access the legal aid for divorce and custody proceedings if they have financial obstacles. In Saudi, like Jordan and Malaysia, has not ratified the International Refugee Convention, and though refugees also have no access to the court, refugees are protected by no means of domestic regulation other than the kafala system, which is an alternative to integrate refugees through the labor force in Saudi Arabia. In marriage and divorce regulation for Muslim refugees in Malaysia is to have uniform process to generate marriage certificate with an official stamp for refugees. The second recommendation would be to be more flexible with the procedures for getting marriage certificate, as well as to broaden the evidential technique, especially when it comes to marginalized groups such as refugees inside the Shariah court in Malaysia. From the best practices, I see that the closest example which is considered best practice to be adopted in Malaysia is the steps taken by Jordanian Shariah court to equip the refugees with appropriate documentation through a systematic marriage regulation among refugees. So this is the recommendation that I could give based on my research. Thank you for your precious time and attention. We will see you again. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.